Hi, this is Steve Wiedemann. In this video, we're going to talk about using a content delivery network to deliver your website content more efficiently to users, which in turn may actually help your search engine rank. Not because Google is going to identify that you're using a content delivery network and give you more points, but because users who are on mobile devices and slow internet connections will be less likely to return to Google search results and choose someone else. So you get the concept here. It's not really about just having certain code on your website to rank better. It's about the user experience being as optimal, efficient, and fast as possible. So here's an example where we've got a domain that we ran a test on just to see how well it performs to a user. You can see that several of the specific optimization criteria are failed, and only images seem to be compressed the correct way. So progressive images, JPEGs, not looked at. The way that we save content in the user's browser cache is not optimized. Of course, the obvious effective use of a content delivery network, which we'll talk about more in a moment. So this shows a score of how well a website is performing potentially to users. And you can see all of the different errors just by clicking down and learning more about them. And an ideal report would look more like this. I wouldn't be as concerned about first byte time, simply because it's not really something that plays as much into user experience as optimized images and so forth. But in general, this is an ideal score to go after. It's very difficult to get all A's, but ideally you want to get as close to an A as you can so that you know, at least have a feeling that you're providing a good experience. So what we'll do is we'll talk about content delivery in general. When you have a web server, right, a GoDaddy account, a Liquid Web account, whatever. So files from your computer actually, from your server actually have to travel different distances depending on how far the user is from where those files are served. So there's this thing called a trace route. I'm going to navigate over to Pingdom, tools.pingdom.com/ping, and I'm going to select trace route as the test to run. And on a site like John Foy, the one that we just looked at with the fails, right? On a site like this one, you can see the amount of distance and how many different hops this particular website has to make, right? It's hopping all over the country here. And I don't know if there's a map. Some doesn't show an interactive map, but sometimes some of the tools that are out there will show you map the United States or the world and show you how files are bounced around all over the place through all these different web servers before finally getting to the actual user. So here's the user, and then here's all the different steps that user has to wait for before the files get over here. Now this other example shows Too Selfish, which is a small little e-commerce website, and it happens to be using a content delivery network. And you can see the number of hops is significantly lower. So here's this one, 23 different hops. Content delivery network, 14, sometimes even less. I've seen it where a hop's only 4 different bounces, or 4 different destinations. So how this works is this content delivery network has servers set up all over the world. So instead of having to go through this long exhaustive path, the person who's receiving the files, that computer merely has to go up to the most recent cloud server. So I'm here in the Los Angeles area, so my computer literally just had to reach up into the sky and grab the closest web server that had a copy of those files. So it provided a much shorter route for those files to have to transfer. Whereas John Foy, on the other hand, doesn't have a content delivery network, and so those files have to come from the originating server, which could be based out of who knows where. So that's how a CDN works. It reduces the amount of hops, and in some cases, content delivery networks like Cloudflare's will do other optimizations as well. So looking at Cloudflare settings here, you can see the different optimizations. So under performance settings in Cloudflare, you can add full optimizations. You can make it aggressive, right? You can do simplified, basic, or aggressive, depending on how optimized you want to go. Why wouldn't you just optimize everything? Because sometimes you've got JavaScripts and weird things that might not work correctly if too optimized. So some cases, if you notice there's a problem, change or scale back a little bit on how aggressive you are with your Cloudflare. And then in here, of course, I can set the expire dates of files. I can minify your JavaScript and CSS and HTML so that the file size of your pages is significantly lower. And it's got other tools in here, like its web optimization rocket loader for JavaScripts, preloader. It's got a Mirage thing for images, and then polished image optimization. So you can have your images optimized before they're delivered to the user. So Cloudflare will take all your files off your web server, do its magic, and then put the magic on servers all across the world, which is pretty unique if you think about it. This type of service wasn't available several years ago. So being able to take files off a web server, really put them on steroids and make them much more efficient for the users who are downloading them is a huge win. Not just for SEO, which of course is a long-term goal for us, but for the users as well. Users definitely appreciate getting faster web pages delivered to their devices. So that is a content delivery network. Cloudflare is definitely one of the leading CDNs out there. There's also Max CDN, which I believe is a company owned by NetDNA, and Amazon's own CDN. The problem with these is that they don't do all of the optimizations that Cloudflare does. Max CDN and these other ones, for the most part, are great in that they deliver content faster from their local servers, but they don't do a lot of the optimizations. So, our favorite at the moment is Cloudflare. So that is, and again, how to identify if you're using a CDN or not is looking at the X in your webpage test.org result. And if you do not see a check mark here, like this, then you probably want to look at using a Cloudflare, Max CDN, or Amazon to help improve the delivery of your content. This is Steve Wiedemann on CDN. Thanks for watching.